What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the first episode of the USA Special Events series Treadstone, which is directly related to the Jason Bourne film franchise. And before I get into the very first episode, just to be clear, because I watched this today, literally almost a week behind because the new episode's airing just in a couple hours, I'm not going to be going into a detail-heavy review. I'm just going to be sharing my thoughts on the very first episode while briefly talking about some of the major things that happened. And with that being said, as far as my initial reaction to the television show, I'm pretty happy with it. For what it's worth, and I feel like this is definitely worth talking about, my perception of the Bourne franchise for pretty much my entire life, or at least my entire adult life, was always back and forth. I absolutely love the franchise, but with everything that Paul Greengrass brought to the table with Supremacy, Ultimatum, and Jason Bourne throughout the latter part of the series, in my early days, I didn't get it. I don't like the filming style. To this day, I still don't like the filming style, and I feel like that's one of the reasons so many people have been gravitating towards things like John Wick and other action films like Atomic Blonde that focus primarily on the action taking place on screen and not jumbling around the camera work in order to hide all of the little mistakes and lack of choreography that you would otherwise see in the late 2000s, mid 2010s type of action movies that the Bourne Supremacy really popularized. But as I've gotten older, I've gone back and watched all of the films multiple times, and I really do enjoy them. Cards out on the table, and I know a lot of people are really going to disagree with this, I really like the Bourne Legacy. In fact, I feel like it's one of my favorite ones of the entire series, not because it makes any sense, but it allows the entire narrative to get a lot more wacky. They're introducing superheroes into the universe, which I think is really cool and something worth exploring. It also builds out the entire universe to focus on more characters, something this television show is trying to do, instead of focusing primarily on Jason Bourne and trying to build an entire franchise around his character. It's such an interesting universe with so much going on that I feel like it could allow itself to get a little bit more wacky without losing some of the impact of the entire series. And one of my biggest disappointments when it comes to the current developments of the Jason Bourne franchise, at least when it comes to film and television, is the fact that they never gave Justin Lin, as of yet, the opportunity to do the sequel to The Bourne Legacy with Jeremy Renner and everything that would have set up. If you've seen what Justin Lin did with the Fast and Furious franchise and even with the Kelvin Line Star Trek franchise, I feel like he could take the narrative and elevate it into something that's playful, blockbuster friendly, while also adhering to the seriousness of those first three films and keeping the broader narrative structure. Now, that's just my thought process on the film franchise as it is right now, but how does the television show stack up? Well, I have to say I was actually really happy with this episode. You know, the idea of Treadstone slowly being rewoken after the events of the first three Bourne movies and even a little bit of Legacy, I think it's up in the air right now whether Legacy still counts, but as far as I'm aware, it still counts and I'm going to keep it as such. They got rid of the program and now they're slowly reawakening it with all of these new characters who are going to play kind of a secondhand fiddle that was made very popular from the film franchise, and we're getting to see these agents reawaken as we're jumping back and forth between modern day in 1937 in East Berlin. And how all of this is going to connect together at this point, I'm not entirely sure. And as I said, just because I am so far behind with this particular episode, we're getting the second episode in just a couple hours, I'm not really going to do a huge recap other than just saying that Treadstone is coming back. They're slowly awakening agents who theoretically were not killed during the events of Legacy. As I said, if that still happened, which I'm still believing that happened, but I'm waiting for maybe somebody in the comments can tell me whether or not they've done enough in this narrative thus far to completely wipe the slate clean when it comes to the fourth film in the franchise. But they're awakening all of these agents for a particular reason. After a defecting citizen from North Korea goes to speak to a disgraced journalist named Tara in order to tell her that he knows that Treadstone is getting off the ground and giving her a mission to go help his daughter, knowing that he wasn't going to survive much longer, in order to make sure that his daughter is going to be okay, and then getting to see all of these agents being reawoken in ways that they're not even aware of. Obviously being watched by everyone around them and being coddled in a sense where even if they are awoken, they don't know exactly what's going on or what their past is like. So if this is what we're going to be following for the rest of the season, then count me all in. I'm incredibly excited to see what they do with this. And if this series has any connection to the 6th movie in development from the Jason Bourne franchise, that would be really interesting. And of course, the producer of the series recently came out and said because Treadstone was coming out, they would be happy in order to connect the story that's going on here to the broader universe of the film franchise and make sure that these two branching narratives can interact and speak to each other as time goes forward. Whether that means that this is just a one-off season or they're going to do multiple seasons with these characters or branch it off into something else, we're not entirely sure yet. But overall, the very first episode of this television show that's connected to one of the most popular live-action non-superhero film franchises over the last 20 years was, at least in my opinion, a success, and I cannot wait to see what they do with it. Now, are they going to be able to hold my attention for very long? I'm not entirely sure. It depends very heavily on this next episode and whether or not it's as exciting or even more exciting than this one that they showed us. So, you know what, guys? Because this is just kind of a quick review and just my thoughts and opinions about the episode that we got, please make sure to go down to the comment section if you're at all interested and share your thoughts and opinions about Treadstone and how it connects to the broader Jason Bourne universe. Do you like the Bourne franchise? Are you excited about this TV show? Do you hope it lasts? And anything else that you want to talk about in the comment section, I'm all here for it. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. It's been real.